Tom.
Yes, now we can start. Okay, I'm gonna do our little beautiful introduction and making sure that we have people watching. All right. Uh, Michelle Steiner, right?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Zuki Sanante. Welcome to the Equity Revolution podcast. Today, I'm with Michelle Steiner, all the way from the US. Don't worry, she's going to tell us where, but what is important is she made it. So please stay tuned. And wherever you are, the most important thing for us is to subscribe below, as you can see the button, and follow us. And should you have questions later for Michelle, just comment or send me a DM, and I'll make sure that I forward those comments or questions to her. And for the rest, let's let her introduce herself. Hello, how are you, Michelle?
I am great, thank you. I'm excited to have this conversation.
Same
Well,
here.
yes. Well, my name is Michelle Steiner. I live in the United States with my husband Ron and our two cats, Jack and Sparrow. I am a paraeducator, I'm a writer, I'm a speaker, and I'm a photographer. And I work in a school where I help students that have disabilities as a teacher's aide. And I also have a blog where I write about my life with having a learning disability and feature my photography as well.
Oh, that's a nice introduction. But first, let's say yeah to Ron because he's a husband. We have to respect Ron
Yes.
for the good work that he does, supporting you and your family and
Yes.
making sure that
Uh-huh.
everything goes smoothly. So, Ron, thumbs up to you, man. You're doing a good job there. Michelle, nice to meet you, and thank you very much for taking part and wanting to be the part of this conversation. And hopefully, that as you will understand my South African accent, which I love so much.
Mhm.
I have to stay South African, though I don't live in South Africa anymore. I'm in Belgium now, as you may guess, I suppose, from my podcast is also clear. Yes. Um, Anyways, where about in the US? I'll come to your introduction, don't worry.
Sure. I live in Pennsylvania.
Lovely,
So,
lovely.
yep,
And it's a good day today.
it is. Yes,
What,
it's sunny. I mean, it's warm out. It's a little cloudy now though, but I mean, it's nice. It's not raining yet.
what time is it there?
It is 2:28 p.m.
2:28, and here is 20:28, almost time for bed. But we're not
Oh my
kids, so we're gonna
goodness.
stay.
Oh, God bless you.
We've got a difference of 6 hours, right?
Yes, yes.
I love actually your introduction is so beautiful, and I'll start again just to give the audience,
Mhm.
our fans, that you contacted me when you saw my podcast and you say, "Hey, Zugisa, I want to be the part of this," and we exchange some messages up until you say, "Hey, I'm ready. I want to do this."
Yes.
Um, we're gonna come back to that, but I love the fact that you mentioned you are working, you are a teacher, and you talked about your own learning disability, and
Mhm.
also the school that you teach at is also a school whereby you have kids that are also having learning disabilities, if I heard you correctly, right?
Right. Some of them have learning disabilities, some of them
Mhm.
have autism, and I'm actually a teacher's aide, but I still get that opportunity to work with students in the classroom.
Ah, lovely, lovely. All right, Michelle, before we go any further, I'm going to come to introduction, but
Okay.
I just want to make sure again that it's clear that our podcast focuses on DEI, diversity, equity, and
Yes. Mhm.
inclusion. However, whatever you want to tell, it's your story. I'm interested in you. Our viewers are interested in you. How do you feel?
Mhm.
How do you define these words? What do they mean to you? All that kind
Mhm.
of stuff. But those are the things that we're gonna keep on talking about through the this podcast. It's not like
Mhm.
you have to define them one by one in the dictionary. Oh, diversity is that. Oh, this is that. I think nah, that's old school. I think. You see, we have podcasts now.
Right.
I'm sitting home. You are home. Okay. Anyways, don't mind me. So, Michelle, please, maybe I should start there. Um, do you understand the need? of this podcast, the DEI justice, that's on its own, do you think it's something that we should be talking about today?
I believe in that 100% because I have experienced with a lot of with my own story with that need for equality and that need for just being accepted and being included with having a disability. And I think that's so key for everybody because everybody's different. Everybody comes into a situation and they have different backgrounds, they have maybe different beliefs. They might even just have different abilities or just different things that they might struggle with too. And I think it's just coming together and explaining a lot of just that importance of making sure that everybody is included.
Hmm. Hmm. All right. As an individual, I suppose, you talked about your learning disability. Do you want to talk about
Yes,
that? Just give us a
sure, I'd
little
be happy.
history there. Yes, please.
Sure. Whenever I was in kindergarten, my teacher noticed that I was really struggling in the classroom. I was officially diagnosed with having one. I was having difficulty with tying my shoes, writing my name, anything math related. And I was really lucky that I had a teacher that could pick up on this. And she suggested I get tested for having one, and sure enough, I do. They didn't give it a specific name at that point. They called it just a learning disability, but they didn't say it was dyscalculia or they didn't even find out I had limited hand dexterity until I was an adult. And my years of school were really a struggle for me socially and academically.
Hmm.
Academically, to learn, I just was really frustrated. I had to repeat the grade again in a new school. And then socially, it was really hard. My school was a very small conservative school. Even though it was a public school, it was still very small and conservative. And I couldn't hide that I went to learning support for to get a test read aloud to me or to have class. And even in learning support, a lot of my peers, they struggle more with reading and some trauma background and sadly some behavior issues as well. And some of them I can look back on and I don't think they had learning disabilities. I think some of them had autism and other health impairments, and we just put them in a room because they didn't know what to do with them. So it was really difficult. And then I was in the classroom and I couldn't hide that I was struggling in there, and I kind of got labeled the kid that wasn't the smart one. And they lumped me with all my learning support peers. So it was really hard, especially. I can just remember the elementary school years were hard for me, both academically and socially too. But eventually, they found out I was really good with reading and writings, and I was able to be in regular ed classes with having supports. By the time I was in high school, it got easier for me academically. I was in all regular ed classes except for math and a resource room, but socially it was a lot harder. All the peer groups are really defined, and I just didn't feel like I fit in with anybody. And I started hanging out with a group that was right outside of our school district that was a faith-based arts group. And I found other peers that shared the same interest, and they didn't go to my school, so I didn't have the reputation that was following me. And after I transitioned out of that group, I found an adult writing group, and they got to see me grow as a writer and a person. And they really encouraged me to write about having a learning disability. I said, "Oh, I don't know if I want to write about that." And then I think I wrote some bad poetry and some other things I wouldn't want to read today. And then the thing that just amazes me with that group, though, is 30 some years later, we still meet once a month to talk about our writing, and we're in each other's lives. So that has lasted a very long time. Another challenging part of having a disability was, well, what was I going to do after high school? I knew I wanted to go to college, but I knew it wasn't going to be easy. And I wasn't
Yes.
alone in that fear. I had a learning support teacher who told me, well, you should just go to a technical school while you're in high school. And none of the programs interested me. And so I decided I'm going to go to college. Right before I went to college, I had to get tested for having a learning disability all over again. And I've never been a great test taker. And the psychiatrist told me that I would most likely not go beyond community college. I get to community college, and there's even more stigma that's attached to that. I had peers who were saying, that using and staff that saying using disability accommodations was cheating. I asked for a calculator usage in a math class, and the professor told me that we use our brains in this class, not calculators. And I also had an advisor who told me I was going to have limited job choices with my math. So that was really hard for me, but I did do accommodations and I was able to pass and graduate. After that point, I decided that I moved out on my own after I had got my associate's degree. I like doing that because I'm not able to drive because of my disability, and I liked having my
Yes, yes.
independence.
Mhm.
But I always wanted more for myself, and be careful what you wish for because for financial reasons, I had to move back in with my parents for a while. And I decided to give college a try, and I found the program that had the least amount of math and science possible, and it had disability accommodations too. So it was really a good thing, and I had a much better experience. My grades improved dramatically. I was able to make Dean's List for a semester. I advocated for myself, and I graduated with a bachelor's degree, despite being told I couldn't do it. Thank you. And after school, it took me a while to find jobs that were disability friendly. And some places claimed they were, and they were anything but that. I've been with the school for over 15 years, coming this fall, and I really like working with the kids. I also, during that time, I was able to achieve some other dreams of mine. I got married, and when we moved into our house, we also found out I had limited hand dexterity. And the light bulb went off. That's why everything dropped out of my hands. And we had this
To the
house.
marriage as
Thank
well.
you.
We didn't clap for the
Thank
marriage.
you. But we had this house, and I could not lock our front door, and I was so frustrated. And there was a call. There was a call on the mighty for what's a seemingly easy task for other people, but it's really hard with your disability. And I took that leap of faith, and I went out and I wrote about it, and I got a really good response, and that encouraged me to write other articles for them. And I also started submitting articles to other places. And eventually I started my own blog, and I also started with photography as well. People tell me that I bring out the details of flower that other people will miss. And when I'm not able to drive or excuse me, if I'm not able to get a ride and I'm on a walk, I get that chance to take a picture of a flower and I get to stop and smell the roses. And if I was driving, that would be so many things in my life that I would miss.
Wow, 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 wow. Um, I feel a little bit emotional, to be honest. Um, I have a son that is having learning difficulties myself, and which is one of the things when you mentioned something, I was like, it's gonna be the first time in this podcast that we talk about such things.
Right.
Um, I know how difficult it is um,
Mm-hmm.
as a parent, and I could imagine how my son feels himself. Um, I don't know, but I'll come back to that story later.
Right.
Uh, but I just want to tell you that you were never alone. There are people like us on the other side of the world
Yep.
that you never met, that you don't know, that having the same struggles as you, that also think, that also pray on daily basis, that Michelle is successful than any other person who might have the same difficulties or challenges, that they are getting recognition and that people do respect them the way they are, not to tease them, especially kids in school, not to think that they're different. I
Right.
mean, yes. But anyways, I'm gonna come back at this because there's a lot that has been said, but I'm gonna go slowly. I'm gonna start now to what you said because you said luckily there was a teacher that noticed something. What
Yeah.
age was it when you started to have these problems, or when the teachers that they started to notice something? But before you answer that question again, uh, at home, your parents, do they also already notice something before, or they didn't at the time?
My parents, I was their first child, so they didn't. notice a whole lot. They didn't know what development was at that age for me. And it's also interesting. Whenever I was in preschool, before I started public school, my preschool teacher noticed that something was going on.
What
However,
age was
they did,
this? What age was this?
this
Sorry
was
to cut you.
about this had to be 3 or 4.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But this is before we really a lot of people knew about what exactly was happening,
Yes,
and
yes.
we didn't have early intervention services or specialized preschool for students that preschoolers that had disabilities or suspected that they might have that. So they recommended that I spend another year in preschool, and my parents, being first time parents, and they said, okay, well, we're just going to send her off to kindergarten, thinking, okay, it's all going to be all right. And it wasn't. And I was around 5 or 6, I was diagnosed. And
Yes,
was
yes.
very fortunate.
And what was the name of your diagnosis again?
I have dyscalculia, which is a learning disability, but they didn't call it that at that point. I just was always told I had a learning disability. But
Okay,
now
okay.
they'll even call it specific learning disability. I also have visual perception issues, which they knew about, and then I also have limited hand dexterity in both of my hands. But we didn't find that out until I was older.
And what does that entail to someone who
The
doesn't
limited
understand what it means? Yes.
the visual perception is in my brain, not in my eyes, so that affects my reaction time and my eye hand coordination and just how I perceive objects.
Hmm,
And my
hmm.
limited hand dexterity is my fine motor skills. So I really struggle with opening up jars. My handwriting was always terrible whenever I was in school. Yeah, you can't read it. I also have difficulty with unlocking doors, and then sometimes things will just fall out of my hands.
Yes,
So,
yes, you mentioned that. Yes,
yes,
yes. Hmm, hmm,
yep.
hmm. And may I ask today if
Mhm.
any of those, is there any improvement or I suppose, I don't know if there's a medication for it, and also if people are aware of your diagnosis, number one.
There is no medication. There's no cure for it. As far as improvement, I've had success with that by finding ways to work around it. So I look at
Okay.
that as the improvement. There's so many things now. Like when I learned how to type, that was one of the first things that we did that I started to people could understand what I was saying and there wasn't that question about that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you know, even like telling time on a digital watch. That was another thing too because I can't tell time on the face of a clock with the math disability. Um, and they even have even more things like there's jar openers and key helpers and a lot of those things help with my hand dexterity, and even with having a cell phone. If I'm out in a restaurant and I want to leave a tip, if they don't already have it calculated, I can pull up my phone and I can calculate a tip on there with an app with that. And that's also a real helpful thing as well too. So
Hmm,
I
hmm.
think that like with having a Fitbit and with phones and just with technology now, there's a lot of things that people can do. And it's not about curing it, it's about finding a solution to what is going on, what
Yes,
challenges you
yes,
have with that
yes,
day, and
yes,
finding new
yes.
ways to do it. Yep.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. That's nicely put, I think, because it's not like we're gonna find cure for all the things that we have, but we have to find a
Yeah.
way on
Right.
how to use technology, number one. How can we use what
Mm-hmm.
is there to make sure that we don't have these problems or we don't feel like we
Mm-hmm.
have these problems. So I must congratulate you for your hard work, for all that you
Thank
have
you.
done, and I'm gonna go slowly try
Okay.
to understand.
Sure.
Um,
Yep, it's fine.
don't know what about me you can say, but I'm gonna keep on going back and forth so that up until we are really in a stage whereby we talk about today. But now we have to go back to try to understand, because I think the reason that we're sitting here today, it's not only about today, it's also about a lot of things that happened along, I mean,
Yes.
the past years
Hmm.
that made you to be who you are today. And I think that is very important that we do know that. So you are now going to school, right, for the first time, and then it's a primary school. Uh, you did your kindergarten, now you go to the primary school. Is it the primary school also you call it there because you have primary, secondary? What do you call it in the US?
Right.
The
We call it elementary school, and it's
elementary school, yes.
kindergarten through fifth grade. And then it's middle school is sixth through eighth grade. And then senior high is ninth through 12th.
Okay.
In most
Before,
places. Sometimes yeah, you might get a grade here or there that might be split up,
okay.
but yeah.
The senior and the middle school, I understand. Let's put them aside. Let's go to the lower grades now, because now
Yeah.
you're a kid, right? You want to play
Uh-huh.
with other kids. Yeah, at that time, probably,
Yeah.
because I know from the middle school, I think for any child, that's when sometimes things become tense. You get teased, a lot is happening, you're
Yeah.
growing, some become teenagers. But for you, is there any time whereby, I know you mentioned this, but I want to go slowly on this. Was there any time whereby you felt like you didn't belong there or you were
Yes.
excluded? It's either by other
Oh yeah.
kids or by other teachers, or can you please take us back to that moment? How was it? And today, when you think about it, how do you feel?
I can really remember from the very beginning, I didn't feel like that I really belonged with a lot of them. Um, it was hard for me to really to identify with a lot of the people I went to school with. They seem to have different interests and different beliefs and just a lot of different things. Going into that, and I also was around a lot of adults. So, because I was an only child for 13 years, so I had a lot of adults. I didn't have a lot of interactions with kids, and some of the other
Yes.
interactions I did have in the neighborhood with kids weren't that positive. So I went in there, and it was really hard to not really fit in and to have that disability. And when I was really young, it was, well, you're not invited to my birthday party, or you're not my friend, or
You're
you
kidding
can't
me.
play with me on the playground. Yeah, it was that way, and it got even to being just calling names from a very young age. So it was a very hard time when I was young.
And whew, this is heavy. It's getting hot in
Yeah.
here. The weather on its own. I'm sweating also from the story that you are telling, because
Okay.
the story, you see, um, I believe that things that happen during your childhood, they do stay with you for the rest of your life, because they're just at the back of your mind, and
Yeah.
at times you do think about them. Um, and how how did you overcome all of that?
Well, one of the things was finding people that I did have stuff in common with. I kind of realized, especially as I went through middle school and high school, that it wasn't going to get any easier for me. And what really helped me was finding other kids that had the same interest that I did, and they didn't go to my school. So I could have this fresh start. And I know today that a lot of kids don't get that opportunity because we have social media and we have kids that are constantly on, but they can also meet other people safely that might share that too. So I mean, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing as well. But I had other people that I had that acceptance. So I got to see, well, not everybody thinks that way about me, and not everybody feels that way about something. And other
Yes.
people like to do those things. So that really helped me whenever I was, especially when I was, not to jump too far ahead, but when I was in high school and I had people picking on me, well, I knew that they weren't being nice, and I was like, okay, it didn't bother me as much. And it also was just something that I could really tell, oh, this is, not how people who like you are going to treat you.
Yes, yes. Um, wow. Um, so now you are going to now middle school now, right?
Hmm.
And you
Yes.
are again facing other challenges, and which I
Yeah.
suppose at that time you already knew that these are the challenges you're
Hmm.
gonna experience. But was it still the same school, or you had to go to another school?
we went to another school, and now we had students that were coming together from other elementary schools,
Yes,
and
yes,
we
now
were all
exactly.
together. So then you get all the other all the
You're
other
starting from
ones that aren't
scratch now.
exactly, yeah, right. I mean, so it's everybody kind of coming together at that point. And the few friends that I did make, we started to drift a little bit, not quite as far away as we went throughout school, but we started to do that. And then you have this other element of other kids, and that was really hard too. So I mean, I think what helped is I got involved with a program that was outside of school. I really didn't forge that many relationships at that point, but there was another program that I got involved with that had other kids that had disabilities, and just different interest groups. I think that helps a lot too, to be able to see that.
Okay, okay, lovely. And you also experienced the name calling.
Yes.
Okay. But I guess at that
I hate
time,
to interrupt I hate to interrupt my computer is about ready to die, so I gotta plug it in. Okay.
please, please go. I'll be waiting here.
Yes, thank you. I'm so sorry about that.
No, no worries, no worries. Take your time. Ladies and gentlemen, while we're still waiting, as we can hear, the difficulties that she went through, the challenges, actually, maybe let me just put it that way. And I hope that any other child out there, or any other adult, or any person that is having any disabilities, that we do support them, and we do take responsibility. There's nothing wrong of having a disability. The only thing that we can do is to support and make sure that we help those that are in need. This is not about us, it's not about them, it's not about anyone. We are all human beings at the end of the day. So, ladies and gentlemen, please, if you are watching this podcast today and you know somebody that needs you there, avail avail yourself and be there, and stop the name calling. Understand, because one thing I can assure you, the name callings that we give others, they will come back to us one day. They may come back when we are in our old age, because remember,
Yes.
once you get old, you go back to becoming a child. You need help from other
Yeah.
people. But my point is to say that please, let's understand each other. Let's support one another, and we don't decide, we don't choose to be disabled or not. It's not by choice. So let it not be our choice to name call people and to see them differently. All right, I'll stop there. She's back. Michelle, welcome back. I
Yeah, but
thought I would have that beautiful speech while you were gone. All right. Is your battery
thank
okay
you so
now?
much.
You managed to charge or
It
something?
is. Yes, thank you. No, yeah, I kept getting the message, and then I thought, well, we may have a couple minutes, and then it was like, oh, we're at 6%, and I'm like, okay, let's just.
Imagine if it was gonna die. Oh, that was gonna
I
be a
know. I'm
problem.
like, yeah, I didn't want to. I didn't want that to.
No, it's all right. We were talking about now. I think the name calling now in the in the
Yeah,
elementary no 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 in the
yeah,
middle school now, because now you already know that it can happen because it happened before. So
right.
you are already prepared, actually, by the time that you move to another school, that these are the challenges I may face there.
Yeah,
But okay, now
right.
you are a little bit bold now. You are like, bring it on. And the switch, the navigation from the old school to that school, the new school where you were, and making new friends, was it easy for you to make new friends? Because people who are autistic, for instance, they find it difficult to make friends, or for it in a change, and you are not autistic now. But how was the whole thing for you?
Listen, I did not make a lot of new friends. I really struggled with that. I even struggled with the ones that I had, and some of the bullies that I had in school. Well, they followed me over to the middle school, so those years were really difficult for me socially.
Yeah, yeah. How is your social life now?
Everything is it's wonderful. I have people in my life that I like. I have that group that I was meeting with, a writing group that with adults, and we're in each other's lives. I mean, we meet once a month at least to talk about writing, but we're also in each other. We were in each other's weddings. We celebrate birthdays together. We have a birthday party tomorrow for two of our friends. we're just that part of each other. And I also have friends from other places that I go to as well, and other groups. So I mean, I really have come away with finding people that do like me for who I am, and I like them. And I mean, I believe in being kind to everybody, but I am almost selective too on who I decide that I want to have those relationships with.
Now you have friends in Belgium. Here we are. We know
Yes,
you.
another friend.
Yes,
Yes.
you see, that's how small the world is. And
Yes.
I'm very happy to hear that you have those friends that you've been together for so many
Yeah.
years, and that you guys have social activities that you do together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to go back to the secondary school. Uh,
Yeah.
now,
Uh-huh.
is the same school now secondary, or is still the same? I mean, the senior school, was it the same school?
In ninth grade, are you talking like before I graduated from high school? Like
Yes.
the ninth grade? Okay. That is a different school. So I had to go, we went up from another school for ninth, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade.
Okay. Okay. And again, the same experiences, I suppose.
Yes, and it really got a lot worse because the groups were really defined that they were in, and a lot of the bullying really intensified. And I can remember I had a student that she really picked on me, and I remember telling one of my I was seeing somebody at that time, and he said, I think she's just blowing smoke. I don't think she's serious about it. And I was lucky because she wasn't. And I thought, well, I'm just going to give this a try. So one day I'm walking down the hall, and this is when we had payphones, and she was on the payphone, and she looked at me and said that she was going to kill me. And I went to her and I said, "Oh, that's nice. You have a great day now." And the incredulous look that was on her face was priceless because she just was so shocked. And there were other times where she did say things. I mean, and I did tell some staff, and I mean, we got some things resolved. And then she moved my senior year, so that was good. But I still had people that wanted to, still pick on me, and it got a little easier. I mean, there were a few clubs I did that I liked, and I found, but I still really struggle with that. But it was, again, finding those groups outside of school, finding who my people were, and those are the people that I still hang out with. Not the ones I went to
Mhm.
school with necessarily. I mean, I can be cordial towards them if I see them, but it's the ones that I decided that I found outside of school that really were uh, the people that I can call my friends.
Yes, yes. And the person that you are talking about, have you ever met after school in your adult life now?
Yes, I have seen people, and yes, we do have a relation. We do talk and things like that. And I
And
did have a couple friends.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
and
And
I
now,
have seen people. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And now, of course, if you talk now, of course, that was high school life, everything we left there. We're adults now, so we see things differently. And now people, maybe some they did come and apologize to you when they see you today. I have no idea. Eh, is
I
there anyone?
yeah. No, I've never received an apology from that. I have had one person that said, "I wish we would have known more about this when
Yeah.
we were
Hmm.
kids,"
Hmm.
because a lot of people didn't know a whole lot about the impact and things. But no, I haven't really received very many. And usually, if I just see somebody at that point, we're cordial. But I mean, there's just not that connection. So I mean, I'll be nice, I'll be friendly, but there's not a whole lot to base on like our experiences with school together, and that's okay too. I mean, everybody has a different way that they approach that. Some people love going back to their high school reunions, or they like doing
Yes,
that,
yes,
and
yes,
that's just
yes,
not
yes.
me. And I wish everybody that I went to school with the best of luck, and have kind regards towards them as well. But there's just not that connection with a
I
lot of
just
them.
hope, I just hope that those who know you, um, when they see this podcast, that they will try to reach out to this podcast to say, hey, I was the part of that school. Maybe I have or have not said some things, but
Yeah.
let me just apologize
Hmm.
because I don't think there's something wrong about that, and I don't think it's too late. It's
Right.
never too late to do
Hmm.
that. And as a human being, I think that would also make you feel good, just
Hmm.
to get that somebody sees you, because we all want to be
Right.
seen, right?
Yes.
Now we go to university now. Take me there to the university.
Well, before I got to university, I started a community college where you can get a 2 year degree. It took me about 3 years, but it was difficult for me. I was doing really well in high school with my classes, with having the supports and not having math. I mean, I was in a learning support math up until that point, so it was a challenge though. And one of the things I did find out throughout years later was if you're a B student or you're an A student, expect your grades to go down about one or two things. So it was a real shock whenever I was not doing well my first semester. But now I realize that's already a normal thing for a student that
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
even have a
yeah.
disability.
Hmm.
But so I was really struggling, and I think just every single area I was, and there was still that stigma that was attached to it that just using disability accommodations was cheating, and I don't, some professors didn't want to give that exception out to people, and it just was a real struggle for me until I finally used some of the services. And once I started using extended test time and tutoring, I was able to pass my classes. And
Yes, yes,
that
yes.
was, yeah, it was just me using those services to do
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
And I also did get a math waiver. We tried doing the most basic math class and it just didn't work out. I was doing tutoring, I was doing everything I could do, and I just went, and the teacher could see that I was really trying. So I was able to replace it with another class.
The
When I
teacher
went
was
to
supporting
university,
this list. Yes.
yes.
Nice, nice,
Now, when
nice.
I went to university, I didn't have that option of a math waiver. I had a choice, thankfully, to be able to take a philosophy based math course. And I was really kind of on the fence. Well, should I just try to do an algebra course or should I take this philosophy based math course? Well, I got that experience. I got my confirmation whenever I was sitting and somebody was playing a chess game and they said, "Hey, do you want to play chess with me?" I said, "Oh, sure." And it was the world's shortest chess game in history. And spoiler alert, I lost. And the person looked at me. I said, "Yeah, I'm not good at math." I said, I have a disability, and I'm really deciding whether I want to take a philosophy-based course or if I want to take a math or an algebra one." And he looked at me and he goes, "You know, I'm a I work in that department, and a lot of the people in my department are not very nice in the math department. So take the philosophy-based math course." Like, okay, point noted. And when I did that, it was very difficult for me. But I had a wonderful professor who could see that I was going to class and I was trying, even though I failed every single test, even though I didn't know the answers. He knew I was trying. I was doing hours of tutoring a week. I was going to office hours. I was doing every single thing I could do. And all I needed to do was get a D. And I got a D, and that's all I needed to do to fulfill my math requirement for
Yes.
that.
Mhm, mhm. So if I understand you correctly, it's like all the challenges, the name calling that you faced were not professionally. Why I'm saying professionally, I mean um, it was just individuals. Um, some scholars were just like you, and not that you got any experiences coming from the staff, the teachers, or
Yeah.
yeah, so that means at least from that side, you got support from your teachers. That's what it means. And also, there was no need for you. I'm just thinking now, uh, a child today who has the same problem or the same challenges as you, if today that child is going to be taken to a special school or just a normal school because he or she has difficulties to go with the pace of other kids that don't
Mhm.
have the same problem as him or her, and you at the time you were just in a normal school with everybody else, right?
Right. I was in a regular school. However,
Yes,
I was pulled out for classes in all areas for a while because I needed to have that instruction. Even some of the reading I was pulled out for. And I can remember there was a student that said, "Well, if she's so good at reading, why is she in this class?" And he didn't mean it in a mean way. He was wondering because he really struggled with that, and I was doing good. And they said, "We just want to give her a little extra help." And having that little extra bit of help is what really has enabled me to be able to do well in all my years of school and also to be able to go to college because I think as hard it is for me to do math, being able to read has really made all the difference for me. And my heart goes out to students that have dyslexia or other reading based disabilities because that is so hard because everything we do is involves reading. For math, it's
yes,
just maybe a select thing that you can get by if you can't do it.
yes. Um, Michelle, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Let me start there. What you have achieved, I believe that there are some that didn't have a chance, didn't
Yes.
have the strength like you did. All that you did, of course, not forgetting your parents' support and those that
Yeah.
were close to you at the time. Are you the only child from your parents?
No, I have a brother. He came along when I was 13.
Oh, we
So,
already forgot about that one. It just came later. Like, oh, there's another one.
yeah, exactly. He came there when I was a lot older. So it was a different kind of relationship. Yeah, I mean, it is. Yeah. So
He's
that's
gonna be
why it
angry
was,
at me. He's gonna be angry at
yeah.
me when he sees that. He said, "Who's that man telling me that I came late?"
Yeah. Aw.
No,
And I
man.
was excited when I was
Yeah,
young too because I thought,
of
oh, I
course,
have
of
a
course.
sibling. Yeah.
How did you feel at that time when you knew you're gonna have a brother or sister when your parents did tell you? Because now you feel like you're not gonna be alone anymore at home. At least you're gonna have a buddy or somebody to talk to.
Right. I was really excited because I was at that age where, even growing up, my brother and I, we were in two different places. I mean, I was a teen. My mom describes it really well, especially with her education journey. Uh, my senior year, it was my last year of school in 12th grade, and he was going into kindergarten. So she had one that was leaving and another one that was just going into school. So we were both at separate places in our lives. So
Uh,
it was a, it was more of almost like I was taking care of him too, not
Actually,
necessarily
yes,
having that.
yes,
Yeah, not
because of
really
that big
having,
difference.
yeah, playing together
Mhm.
kind of deal.
Yeah, no, 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 it's true actually, because you were already now a teenager, so it was yeah really fast. So, but at least
Yeah,
you knew at home you had a buddy, you have somebody, and that's beautiful.
right.
How is
I
your
do.
relationship now, guys? Because now he's no longer small now, he's a big man
Right.
himself.
We see each other every once in a while. Yeah, he's
Lovely,
married. He
lovely.
has two nieces that I love, and I always enjoy seeing them. So we see each other. Yeah, we're just both busy with life, and yeah,
Tell me, because this is exciting now. Let's leave your brother alone. We already teased him too much. Now, there comes a day. It's your graduation. You're done. You're
yeah,
done. You've got your degree, and now you are going to another world now. Tell me
right.
that excitement. How was it when you saw, I've got my stuff, you're wearing your gowns, you beautiful, you have your certificate. Like, I did it.
It was such an exciting day. It was such a happy day for me. And the thing that it was what I wanted, it was also what I envisioned because would remember we would have our graduate, I knew where we had our graduations at. And every single time I was really struggling, I would just go past that place and I would just imagine this beautiful, warm, sunny day, me walking across the stage and getting that degree, and it happened. And I just remember just thinking, this is my dreams, this is what I envisioned, and it came true. And I was
We don't,
also really, yeah,
not good. We don't know Bob at that time, right?
right. Oh, Ron. Oh, I knew him at
What
that
was his name again, your
well,
husband?
that's actually a story too, but I did
Okay, we're
know, I
coming there.
mean,
We're coming there. Wait, wait,
yeah,
wait. Don't
at
tell
the
him. Don't
very
tell him
beginning.
yet.
Yeah, he was working in another place at that point, so we were long distance for a little while. But At one point I knew him. Well, when I first started out, I didn't know him, but then a couple years after that, I did. So I just had that vision in my head of that, and I was just so excited, and I just was so filled with hope because before that point, I was really negative, and I thought, well, I
Okay.
can't do anything,
Wait, wait,
but then
wait,
it
Michelle.
renewed
Don't
my faith.
don't rob us now. Wait,
Yeah,
wait,
I
wait,
don't
wait,
want to
wait,
roll on
wait.
that.
Don't rob us. Don't rob us now. Wait, wait,
No.
wait.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm coming. What was his name again?
Ron.
Ron. Okay, we're coming to
RON.
yeah, we're coming to Ron. So before, because I want that excitement the day you met him.
Yes.
But before we come to that, we can't rob him. No, we need it raw. We need it here. So it all happened. Graduation, you started working, and then now, uh, when you started working, you are helping now other kids that are having
Yep.
challenges.
Yep. Exactly.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel complete. It makes me feel really rewarded. I just feel really like I get a lot out of very rewarding. It's like I've come full circle because now I know what that's like. Because a lot of times when I'm
Yes.
with these kids, I understand what it is like for a great deal of them. Not every single one of them, but for most of my kids. I mean, I hear them say, oh, I hate my disability. I wish I didn't have an individualized education plan. And I get to be that voice that tells them it's not a bad thing to have a disability and it's not a bad thing to have that plan.
Do they
And
tell you
I,
why they hate it? Sorry to
yeah,
cut you there because I don't want us to forget
no,
that part.
no,
Do they tell you why?
yeah, they tell me that. Sometimes they'll just say they hate it and they wish they didn't have it and they wish they weren't in that class.
They're
And
saying
it's,
this because of the challenges it has, or they're saying
yep,
this because
yep.
they have social challenges, or also the same problems that you had when you were young, the name callings and stuff, or what is it that they really makes them to hate it?
Well, it's both. They don't like the social stigma of being in that class because people might think that they're not smart or their peers will pick on them if they're there. And I know what that's like to kind of go into a room like that. That can be really hard. Or to have somebody that's helping you and you don't want to stick out and you don't want to be different from anybody else. And I think that's a real difficulty. And then academically, if they're in the room, a lot of our students, how we have ours structured in our district is there isn't a learning support classroom. So we have kids that, if let's say they struggle in math, they are going into a basic level math with other kids that don't have disabilities, but math just may not be their forte. And the same thing with English or reading. And I just know from my own experience how embarrassing that would be for me to be in a class like that because you already feel like you stick out. You know you're the one that's struggling. Everybody knows that you're not the one that knows what the answers are. So
Mhm,
it's
mhm,
really,
mhm,
and even
mhm.
when they're in a class, like even when I was in a science or a history, and it was just that basic or academic class, it's hard to have that confidence when you're in with your peers. So I understand how a
Yes,
lot of them
yes,
feel,
yes.
and we just try to do a lot of emphasizing that it's not a bad thing. That what we're doing, we're trying to help them. I also show them how to advocate because for so many of my students, they're going to graduate, they're going to leave me. I pray they graduate, and I hope and I pray that they find whatever dream that they want to achieve, that they're able to do it. But advocacy is how that dream comes true. And they
Mhm,
have to
mhm.
learn, even from a young age, this is how we speak up for ourselves. This is how we ask for help when we need it. Because if they don't, they're not going to be able to be successful in life.
Yes, yes, that's I fully agree with you there. Um, wow, this podcast is heavy,
Yep.
and it's not only heavy, it's also beautiful
Thank you.
because it's all about acceptance moving
It is.
forward.
Yep.
How do you deal about it? How do you see me if I'm different? Do you appreciate me? What do I do to others who might have difficulties that I don't have? Am I willing to help? I mean, those are the things that are working in my mind now as you're talking. So, but anyway, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna because I love what you're doing, that you are giving back with an understanding when you're working with those kids, because you can understand what is going
Hmm.
on in their minds, how they feel, because you experienced
Right.
some of the things they're experiencing today, even though maybe they were different, because time is different now and people are different, of course. Um,
Right.
Now, without dwelling into that, I'm moving to something now that's going to give us another talking. Ron. Tell me about Ron.
Yes.
When, first things first, before we talk about him, um, have you ever thought that one day you'll be married? Or it was also one of the things you thought, like, maybe not?
It was always a dream of mine to be married. Of course, I wanted to find somebody in my life. And I had people that were telling me, well, you may not find somebody that'll like you because you have a disability. And they were right. I can remember my ex that I was with, when we were breaking up, he said, I think you could drive if you wanted to, and I'm tired of taking you places. And I had other people, guys that were just like, I don't want to be with you because you have this disability. And I thought to myself, it wasn't until I finally prayed and I just said, God, if do not send anybody until it's the right person. And I was happy. I mean, I was at university, I was doing really well. And God was really faithful in bringing somebody to me. And also, there was also signs. The universe was giving me a ton of signs. Long before I went back to school, I was at volunteering at our art center. And I had a friend that was asking me if I was seeing anybody. I said, oh, no, not right now. I said, you know, um, and he goes, I have a feeling you're going to meet somebody at a place like this. I met my wife while I was traveling. And it turns out I met my husband at that very same place. I met Ron there. I was
Wow.
volunteering that night, and he saw me walking down the street, and I had a red dress on. He said, "Oh wow, who's that girl? Where's she going?" And it turns out we were going. He was going to the same place to play guitar that night. We had mutual friends that we knew, and we also found out that we were in the same place at the same time, and we didn't know it. And I had a friend who also had a dream about this too. He called me up and said, "I have a dream. You were standing in front of the courthouse. You had a vintage dress on, and I don't know who the guy was, but you were getting married." And I thought, okay, the vintage dress, that's my style, but I don't know why I would be standing in front of the courthouse, and I don't know who is this guy. And when we got married, I did have the vintage dress, and we had a reception at the art center where we met at. And the photographer asked us if we wanted to go walk in this park. And I said, sure, we'll go up there. And it didn't hit me until we got the pictures back that the courthouse was in the background of our picture.
It's beautiful. That's a beautiful story. And I hope we didn't miss the beginning when you started, because I saw the network was keep on doing some things. But normally
Yeah, my apologies.
they say this software normally it does record even if there's something it will reload. So I
Yes.
hope, but at least we didn't miss the bigger picture and the rest of the story.
Mm-hmm.
But um, yes, congrats to you and Ron, and
Thank you.
hopefully that you guys not hoping actually it should happen. That's a vow. You took vows, so it should happen. But
Yes,
you
exactly.
guys,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I want to do this podcast one day when we are all in our 80s or 90s. We're grannies and
Yes.
grandpas and say, "Where is Ron? Is he still there?"
Yep. God willing.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Oh, that's a nice one. I'm not gonna. Let's switch a little bit. Go um to your writing. But before we come to your writing, because I'm interested to know your books or what you are writing, um, I just want to quickly now to conclude the part we already talked about today. With all that happened to you, what would you say uh, to someone who's experiencing the same as you today? I know you work with these kids and you are saying probably this on
Wait.
daily basis, but now I'm living in another country whereby we don't have facilities Number one, we don't
Right.
have special schools. Should I be in a special
Hmm.
school? What would you tell me? What would you say to me that you think it will make me say, I want to be like her. I want to have my degree. I want to succeed. What message would you give out there, and also to the professionals, and also to the people and the bullies, whoever, please?
One of the things I would definitely tell people is to know what you want and to be able to find a way to do it. It may not always come in the way that you think it's going to. And your dreams may not always come in the package. I remember my dad telling me when I was really young that success may not always come in the package that you expect. And I've learned to add on to that that sometimes it not only did it come in the package I expected, but it came into something even better in life. And not to give up, to keep on looking for that way that you can move forward with that. I think that would be the advice that I would give to somebody.
And to the people that didn't treat you well at the time, what would you say to them today?
I would tell them that I was able to do all of those things and not to discourage the next person that comes along that has the disability or the difficulty because you don't know the whole story and what may happen or may not happen.
Do you think what had happened to you also gave you strength to succeed?
It certainly has. I think that I used to always wonder, well, what good could come out of that? Well, it made me strong to be able to do all that. And it also has helped me to emphasize with other students. I know what that's like for a lot of people to have that disability and
Yes.
where they're at. And I don't think I would have had the empathy if I didn't. I would have that desire, I think, to help people, but I don't know if I would have really had that ability to be able to understand where someone might be coming from.
All right. Um, I'm thinking I would say the school where you were, because we're talking about the
Hmm.
US, that there was
Yeah.
the school was diverse, right?
Well, somewhat. We did not have it. It was a very small town, a very
Ah,
small school
yes, yes,
district.
yes.
So most people that went there were white. Most people
No black people
just
there?
Uh, we did have
Where
some, but
did you
it was
guys
in the
forget
minority.
us? Did you forget us? Where
Yeah.
were we? Did you guys forget us?
Um,
I'm
yeah,
kidding.
I know. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, that's the thing. And I know that I am myself white, but I mean, had a very small population of people who weren't,
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
people didn't understand that. And then disabilities. People didn't really know a whole lot about disabilities or what the impact. There's a lot of misinformation even today about learning disabilities that's out there. So we had that, and then most people. They didn't maybe worship differently. We didn't have a real big population of that. It was a lot of people that fit into this really tight stereotypical box. And if you were anything that was outside of that box, people really feared that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, whoa. I think let's let it rest, that part. Um, because it's very clear if you conclude what we have said so far that exclusion was the problem.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
and also equity was the problem.
Hmm.
Um, you fought hard individually. You fought hard with your family helping you to succeed. So as your
Hmm.
teachers, and today some of them that were name calling you, uh,
Hmm.
they see you, and I'm very sure that I shouldn't be so certain about it, but I should be. I believe that as we grow, we start to see things differently and we evolve. And I hope
Right.
in all those stages that we manage to say, hey, even though we never had a chance to apologize, but to tell ourselves that
Hmm.
because that what we did was not okay. Especially some of them, they might have their own kids today, and
Hmm.
I guess once you start to have your own family and look back, then you start to realize what you had done wrong
Right.
during your time. So I hope that this topic on its own, it brings back those memories to them and
Right.
other people all over the world, and to say that, hey, it's not okay, right? All right, let's
Right.
come to interesting stuff now. Before I get you tired, don't worry, we're gonna wrap up. We already took 1 hour, which is good. So we're gonna try to wrap up maybe in 15 minutes or
Okay.
something. I don't want you to get tired. Again, you said you were a writer.
Yes.
What do you write?
I write a lot of creative nonfiction about my life with having a disability, but I also put in a lot of nature analogies. I might talk about the process of accepting my disability was like a flower that was unblooming, or the transformation that a butterfly goes through. Nature is definitely a big thing in my life with my walks and my photography and flowers. And I try to make that something where somebody with a disability can understand it, and I also try to make it where people who don't have disabilities can understand it as well.
Yes, yes. And so it's would am I correct to say that your writing is more about your life and your
Yes.
experiences? It's like a
Uh-huh.
memoir or something like that. Okay.
Yes.
You published some of your work?
I have had three stories published in an anthology, and I've had articles published on various places, such as the Mighty and Nonverbal Learning Project, and some other places as well. And I have a story coming up in an upcoming anthology in the fall, tentatively. So I've been busy with that, and it is a dream of mine eventually to publish a children's book about dyscalculia, and I'd like to do a memoir.
Ah, lovely. So the ones that you already published now, um, should there be anyone there who's interested, who wants to read them or to order them somewhere, can we find them somewhere online outside
Yes,
the US?
you can find, yes, there is a, one is available for purchase on Amazon. And I also have the information on my website as well, where people can
Yes.
click on the link for all of those resources. Yep, the ones that are available to purchase.
All right. Would you then, after this, send me those via email, your website, your books,
Yes,
and
I'd be happy to.
I find them online, then I can have some covers of them so that when I edit the podcast, I can try and show
Hmm.
them in this. And also, it is good to make sure that we can try and help people find them and buy them
Yes.
and read them. And that's also one of the ideas of this podcast that should you have something out there that we can try and advertise or market or make people
Hmm.
be aware of it for you, that it will work to expand your network. So, yes. All right. You are writing two books now coming then, eh?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And so far, you don't know when they will be out, maybe next year.
No.
Yeah, yeah, I know they
No.
can
Have
take
no. I
time.
don't know.
But they're coming, right?
Yes.
Um, all right. I'm just gonna now just take random things that come to my mind as we are going to the conclusion to ask you, for instance, when um, when you saw the Equity Revolution on Facebook and
Hmm.
you decided to be the part of it, what came to your mind when you saw it or when you read about it there? What interests you that much to say, I want to be the part of that?
I think I wanted to be a part of something that could bring equity into the lives of people, and being able to be a part of including other people, maybe by my story, helping others, and maybe learning from maybe some of the things that happened in my life, so that other people can learn and other people can, so that everybody can be included.
Yes, yes, yes. And I hope that, as I said,
Hmm.
um, that this podcast will change the mentality
Hmm.
of others. And
Yes.
again, I'm very thankful that you decided to be the part of our podcast, and hopefully that uh, you will also spread the word and
Yes.
make sure that people will watch this podcast, and we have new subscribers also all over the world. Because when I thought about it, to be honest, I ask myself, is it a good thing to do? Because people are tired of talking about DEI, and also your
Right.
president, Mr. Donald Trump,
Yeah.
also said DEI
Hmm.
was dead. Yes, that's what he said. And
Yeah.
that day that he said it, that was the day I said to myself, okay, I've been thinking about it, but now it is time to just do it because
Right.
I disagree with what he said. But of course, everyone is entitled to
Yes.
his or her opinion, so we should respect that. That's what he
Hmm.
believes. So yes. Now, Michelle, why are we talking about DEI today? It's 2025. Do you think, are we doing enough or something is missing? Don't we have enough of diversity? Don't we have enough of inclusion? What are we missing actually? If we
I
miss
honestly
something.
think, right, people honestly do not learn from their mistakes in history, and they're, people who don't learn from that are doomed to repeat themselves. And I think we don't learn from mistakes. And I think people have this, that they don't want to be inclusive, and I think there's people who do want to include others, but they don't quite know how. So I think some of that is missing. And there, it would sure be nice someday if everybody could be included, and it sure would be nice if we had an equitable world. But unfortunately, we don't at this time, and we just have to keep on working towards that. We may never get perfection, but we certainly can try, and at least
Yes.
to reach one person.
Mhm. So, what what would you think that we should do or we can do to take action to some of the things that we think are not going all right or not going okay? Not like we're gonna change the world because that's something
Right.
difficult to do, but do you have any ideas or that you think, maybe if we may try this and this and that, it may work?
I think a lot of it's by listening to other people and listening from different people's perspectives on things. I think sometimes it's really easy to do the same thing or to think, maybe make decisions based upon one way of doing something without hearing maybe somebody else has a different perspective or a different opinion. And people don't understand that until maybe they hear somebody else's opinion or perspective. So I think it's that listening piece is important. And I also think it's also checking our own unconscious biases that we all have, and knowing where you stand on that, and what you think, and just making sure that when you go into a situation, okay, maybe I might have that opinion, or I might feel that way towards somebody with this. Am I giving everybody an opportunity? Am I listening? And to think about that, and just to listen to other people's experiences, because just because it didn't happen to maybe you, that doesn't mean that there isn't discrimination, or there isn't somebody in life that is doing that. And I think we don't understand that somebody else's perspective until we listen.
Yes, thank you very much. That was very clear. If you didn't
Hmm.
hear that or that doesn't say something to you, wherever where you are, please rewind
Hmm.
and listen again because that on its own was very powerful. Do you think I'm wasting my time? Are we wasting our time with this podcast trying to talk about these things?
I don't believe you're wasting your time. I think that it's a good thing to do, and I think to just be encouraged, and to give that. I don't think that definitely is a waste. I think that if you can just reach one person, or even maybe if you don't reach that person, maybe just give somebody that chance to just be able to talk about their experiences. I think that's helpful.
What advice would you give me from today onwards? Um, it can be a suggestion, whatever that you think. Yes.
My advice to you would not to be to give up, and would be to keep on going and to follow your dreams. And I'm living proof that the success can happen, and not to give up on your child too, because my parents never gave up on me, and that made all the difference.
I don't want to cry now, Michelle. Don't want to cry now. All right, that's beautiful. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you.
Now, I've got two questions for you left, and then I'll let you
Okay,
relax and enjoy your
okay.
day. Um, The first one is, what would you say to little Michelle today if you had to look back to her, that little girl that you were once was, to say, hey, this is me today? What advice would you give her?
I would tell her that everything's going to be okay because that little girl worried so much in life that nothing was ever going to work out for her. And I would love to just tell her that your life will work out. You're going to go to school. You're going to be able to graduate. You're going to find a job. You're going to fall in love. You're going to have friends. You're going to get published. Every one of your dreams is going to happen, and many more.
Yes, yes. I think she's listening. She's smiling right now. Um, if let's say it was your last day today, which
Hmm.
one day is gonna come to all of us.
Yes.
But when it's
Hmm.
said, it's always sound like weird or what. But unfortunately, that's something we can run away from.
Right.
Um, if this was your last day today, after all the hard work that you have done and what you are still doing for others, those young kids there, um, how would you want us to remember you?
I would want them to remember me as someone that cared about them. Some it may not always have as appeared to that with some of them, but that I always cared and I fought for them, and I always had their back, and I always had the best intentions to wanting them to grow up to be wonderful people.
And to your parents, what would you say
I
to
have
your
not,
parents?
I would thank them for all those years that they helped and supported and guided me, and I couldn't have made it throughout my school years without them supporting me.
I
And
suppose
thank
that
you,
also.
definitely.
Yes, thank you very much. And that also goes for Ron, because I can
Yes.
imagine that you guys, as a couple as well, that like any other couple, you
Mm-hmm.
have your own challenges, goods and bads, that like any,
Right.
it can happen to anybody. But also, what would you say to your husband? I'm saying this very carefully because um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
uh, some there are people that they are
Mm-hmm.
attracted to somebody. They are not attracted to someone because he or she is not or disabled,
Right.
or she or he's disabled. But what would you say to Ron and another husband or a wife who might have a husband or a wife who has the same challenges as you?
Well, I would definitely would tell somebody that you have to be upfront and honest with each other before you get in a relationship about that. And that has to be somebody has to want that. Somebody has to be okay with that. And not everybody is. And I knew that Ron was going to be all right with that because on our first date, I shared that I had a learning disability, and he was the first person that asked me, "Well, how does that make you feel?" And I knew
Oh,
that was the yes, and I knew he was the one. It was just going to maybe take some time for everything to go, but I knew no one ever asked me that question. And I there is a learning curve to it too. I always say that advice. There's a learning curve. Sometimes Ron may not always understand. Oh, you can't do that, or yeah, there or somebody can't, and I might have to explain that. Well, no, this may not
mhm,
work out
mhm.
in that way. And sometimes I have to be open to things too. Sometimes I might get in my head thinking, well, why can't I do this? Or I'm yeah, and we both are. We also had to strike. My other advice is, do you have to make your relationship work for you too? For example, I can't drive, so living out in the middle of nowhere is not going to be a great option for me. I need to be able to walk to where I need to go, and that gives him that opportunity if he's not able, if he's working or if he's out doing something else for another reason. I have that ability to be able to take myself where I need to go, and I have that independence, which I love. And I definitely love the support though that he's there for. But you also have to have that independence as well too, and that's going to look different for every single person, and it's just you have to, but both people have to be willing and open and understanding of it.
Yes. So that means to me, if I heard you correctly, you have to, it's all about understanding, open
Yeah.
communication, and willing to
Mm-hmm.
sacrifice, both of you.
Yep.
And that
Yep,
was
exactly.
beautiful. Yes, yes, yes. Um, I thank you very much, Michelle, um, for this conversation. And I know that we're going to have a second podcast because there's still a lot that I would
Yes.
love us to talk about because I still want to go back to those kids. I still want to understand the structure, what is going on, what help do they get, what Department of Education, how do you guys do with these things?
Yeah.
So that will be our second podcast, and
Okay.
because there's a lot to talk about, and it's a very interesting subject because
Mm-hmm.
as I said in this podcast, we are more interested to you as a person, and
Mm-hmm.
then you can tell whatever you want to. It's not political. It's not any kind of. It's just
Yeah.
about you. Do you understand the
Mm-hmm.
DEI? Do you understand the need why we should have it?
Yeah.
And we will talk about all other stuff. But now disability, as I told you, this is the first podcast. This is the first
Yeah.
podcast that we have such
Mm-hmm.
guests like you. So it is an honor. And to be honest, you are very intelligent, and I can tell the hard work that you put on. No, that's true. The way you answer questions, the way you navigate to explain how things happen. That's when you know someone, because it, it's like I'm reading a book just by listening to you. That's how you
Right.
take me into your journey, and I hope someone else also out there that they can also feel the same. Michelle, I just want to thank you very much. Um, but before you go, can you please have one final word for our audience, our fans, and also ask them to subscribe.
Yes, exactly. I would just tell people to keep their face to the sun. That's what this, and the shadows will disappear behind your back. The What the Helen Keller quote, and that's what the sunflowers do. And please subscribe to the Equity Revolution podcast.
Thank you very much. That was Michelle. Was it? Wait. Steiner, right?
Yes. Uh
Yes,
huh.
that was Michelle Steiner, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from the US, and especially she joined us today to share her experiences, her views, her understanding, and I hope that you enjoyed this. And should you have any questions, please just DM me and we'll take it from there. Michelle, not forgetting to say to you that don't forget to send me via email all that I
Yes,
can put out there,
I
your
will.
website, your everything we talked about, your books as well,
Okay.
the links to that so that I can share them here. And also, should you have any other announcements in the future
Okay.
regarding the awarenesses or things like that, you
Okay.
can invite our podcast. We can go live. We will always be here for you. Should you want to share something live, you can invite me. I can join live, and then you can do your presentations and stuff. Then we can record it and make it uh, um reachable by those who are interested. So thank you. I cannot thank you enough. And ladies and gentlemen at home, please don't forget to sponsor art. We have t-shirts here that are our brand. They are very cheap. Just sponsor art if you sponsor us if you can. And for the rest, I'll say this was the Equity Revolution podcast with Michelle. Michelle, the this part, it's not the part of the recordings now. I'm just talking to you now personally to say
Okay.
thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you. Did you enjoy
Thank
yourself?
you so much. I will stay. I will keep this on while it's uploading, and
No, it's okay. First,
it's okay.
I'm gonna stop it from my
Okay.
side. It's gonna continue uploading because I'm the host, so it's
Okay.
okay.
Awesome.
But you can leave it on, and then when I stop it here, it will automatically stop from your side. So I'm gonna stop it here so you
Okay.
can stop. But for the rest, Thank you. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
And should you have any questions, whatever, just send me. And you look
I
in the
will.
future whenever you are ready to book for another session or whatever that comes in, updates, you want to share
Okay.
information, just book. You see our calendar there, let's
Sure.
just book, book, book. Doesn't matter when.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. See ya. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye. Thanks. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.